that comes out tomorrow and says we can resume cruising, but we have to have vaccine passports temporarily.
We're not doing vaccine passports in Florida. It's not necessary. It causes a huge amount of problems, and I think you're seeing a big groundswell against these. I was the first one to come out. Look, Florida has to lead on all this stuff. I think we figured that out, but we led. Now all these other states are doing it. Some of the banning them. Some of the states that have gone in the direction of doing them, it's not working out very well, and people are very upset about it. You have a right to live your life in our society. You can go to a restaurant. You can get on a cruise ship. You can go to a movie theater without the company demanding that you show them your health information. It's just not necessary to do. And here's the way I view it is, if it's something that you're concerned about, make sure you get vaccinated. Great, go get vaccinated. We're all for that. But it is a choice, and it's not something that I want to restrict people based on whether they've gotten the vaccine. Because there's some people that have recovered from COVID who decide, you know, maybe I'll get it some other time, but right now I recovered. I think you do have immunity. We don't know how long it lasts, but it certainly lasts at least a year. So there's all these different things. Then you have some folks that are a little more hesitant about it. Why would we then put an inhibition on them to do it? So yeah, we're not doing. In the federal government, in fairness to them, they have said they're not going to do a vaccine passport because there was talk of that. That's what prompted me to come out and say it's not happening in Florida. And then they backed off. They said, no, you know, maybe the private sector will go in that direction, but we are not as the federal. And I think that's the right decision. I think they did that because I think they got a lot of backlash for it. But here's the thing. If you allow the private sector to do this, actually we're helping the private sector because I don't think most private businesses really want to get involved in here. So they don't even have to be pressured to do it. But also we have the COVID liability. So they shouldn't fear liability. This is something that people can make decisions about what they want to do. And I think that's the best way to do it. Give people information, give them access to vaccine, let them know that they can make these decisions for themselves. And I trust people will make good decisions for themselves. Yes, ma'am. We're not doing vaccine passports. And here's the thing, the vaccines, I mean, look, I get there's different things. And I'm not saying there aren't variants. Obviously, they've identified variants from all this. But when they say that this is going to be like some really new thing, the fact is the vaccines have been effective against the variants. And I think that that's good. And we're letting people know that. But it doesn't change the calculation of a vaccine passport. And just think of it. What are the implications for this? And I'm somebody, I mean, we put seniors first. We always talked about that this was something that we needed to protect seniors from. But I also was someone from the very beginning, and I used to get criticized for it, say, if you're younger, you're at low risk. That's true. The data bears that out. There's some people that are just, I mean, we just had a corporate media ask us last week, why would the governor have put seniors first? What went into that for vaccination? Because they represent over 80% of the COVID mortality. Maybe that was why we did it. But the point is just this. You have radically different views, radically different risk profiles. So if you're younger, this is more influenza-like. If you're older, it's more risky than influenza. So if you make a 22-year-old get a vaccine passport for COVID, something that they're at very little risk for severe outcomes, then what about everything else? What's the next step? What's the next thing that they're going to want to do? And I think it's got profound privacy implications, and it's not just government mandating it. It really is. We live in a society right now where these big private companies have massive amounts of power to shape our lives, with the news we see, the different products, they take data from us. We're trying to do something about that right now with this legislative session to protect. You should be able to opt out of them stealing your data and personal information without your consent. We're working on getting that done. So there's all these implications for this, and boy, I think it would be such a mistake to go down that road. So you can't do it in Florida under my executive order. Now, obviously, that's temporary. The legislature, though, is going to basically codify that. I've been looking at some of the drafts they're working on, so I feel confident we'll do it. Texas will do it. Georgia will do it. South Carolina. Some other states will start doing it. So there'll be enough states that do it that you're not going to have any major company have to insist on it because it'll just hurt their business too much.
What if a cruise line wants to do it? Would you object to that?
We would object to it, and here's why. Because, so just think about, like, you know, you want to go to like a ball game and they say you have to show proof of vaccine to go. Well, what if you have a reason for why you didn't get vaccinated? Okay, you then can't participate in society like everybody else. I mean, these are basically public accommodations, and to have different classes of citizens based on vaccine status, I think is a big mistake. And as I mentioned, if someone recovered from COVID last week, they would be advised right now not to get the vaccine. That's just the you want to wait a little bit, or certainly if you're not advised, it would be sensible not to, because you do have infection controlled immunity. So that's just the reality. So I don't want to create different classes of citizens for this. I think that it would be something that we would rue the day. And here's what we've learned on this: you give an inch, there's people that want to take a mile. They want to take your freedom. They want to be able to exercise power. Remember, last year, a little over last year, it was in March of last year, 15 days to slow the spread. 15 days or 2 weeks to stop the cruise, then you guys would be back. Remember, that's what they promised us? And then somehow this is dragged on to where we still have major states in our country that have pretty significant lockdowns. That was not what was promised. And so I think we're wiser now. We may be sadder in terms of some of the damage that we've seen throughout this country, locking kids out of school for a year, destroying people's lives by not letting them work, destroying businesses and all that. But I think we're wiser, and I think we don't want to go down that road. If you say, just let the cruises do it, no one else, it ain't going to end there, and it's going to end up doing. So we're an 800-pound gorilla when it comes to tourism, and I think if we put our foot down, Florida can help lead the way yet again. Thanks, everybody. Appreciate it.